we're finishing up number 11 on worksheet 2. This is 2A or B. I don't know why. To be or not to be? Oh, I got to say that. All right, so anyway, we've just found the x part of the vertex, which is the axis of symmetry as well. We need to plug in our value of x into the equation to get the component that is the y value for the vertex. So we're doing the f of 2. That's basically what we're doing. The f of 2, that would be the notation if you were plugging it in. So that's going to be negative 2 to this, the opposite of 2 squared, plus 4 times 2. I don't know why I did that in parentheses and then also made a dot, plus 5. So this is 2 squared is 4, but you also apply the negative sign after. You don't apply it during on this one because it's not in parentheses. So this is actually negative 4 minus 8 or plus negative 8 plus 5. And that's, I don't remember this being the answer. Did I write that right? Oh no, look what I did. Here's what I did wrong. This should be plus 8. I put a negative right there for some reason. And I thought I was seeing a negative, but it's a positive. I had put that stupid times button, times in there, and it made me think it was a negative sign. Okay, so it is plus 8. And then what we got, 13, isn't it 9? Okay, so 2, 9 would have been our vertex. Now, we're going to look at these parabolas and state whether the parabola opens up or down, whether the y-coordinate of the vertex is a minimum or a maximum value of the function, and find the vertex. Check your answer by graphing. Use the table feature of your calculator exam points. I'm not going to do much with the calculator. I'm going to simply look at this and determine it. I'll look at one of them, and then after that, it does not work for all of them because sometimes your vertex is not integers. It's not like whole numbers, so I'll explain why after we look at the calculator once. All right, so in here, this function, what term are you supposed to be looking at? Well, the functions are in the format ax squared plus bx plus c. And you got to identify the a, b, and the c value. The a value tells you whether it opens up or down, whether it's wide or thin, etc. So if I look at this one, the a value is negative 1. You've got to look in front of the x squared term. Okay, so here a is negative 1, and b is a 4, and c is a 5. Okay, so this thing is going to, it says tell whether, the state whether it opens up or down. So this is going to open down. Okay, it's going to then, since it opens down, it's going to have a max value. And we said then find the vertex. So we're going to find the vertex by doing x is equal to the opposite of b over 2a. The opposite of b would be negative 4 over 2a. A is a negative 1, so 2 times negative 1. So this gives me negative 4 over negative 2, which is positive 2 for the x value. All right, so our vertex, and I'm just going to use a v, is 2 something. We plug 2 back in the original. 5 plus 4 times 2 minus 2 squared. Isn't this the same as the one I just did? 5 plus 8, that's 13 minus 4, and that we get 9. So what that means is that the max value on the parabola, that's your max, is the 9. Now what it meant by check on the table feature of your grapher, go in here into the graphing calculator, go to y equals, clear anything out. I think it said 5 plus 4x, right? Minus x squared. Got to put in an x and then square it. Did I correctly type the equation in? Because I can't see my paper right now. Okay. Alrighty. Now let's hit zoom 6. Just so everybody looks the same. It just standardizes your window to a negative 10 to 10 domain and range. All right, now what they meant by going to the table. So right now you can look at this picture here. You can see the vertex here is at 2, 9. And then you can go second graph, and it'll give you a table of values. You can actually find that vertex 0.29, and then notice that above the 9 there's an 8, and below it there's an 8. That's the symmetry of this graph. So it shows up here because the vertex actually was integer numbers, but if your vertex was fractions, you wouldn't be able to see this like this. Okay, because these are all counting by ones, and not everything goes by ones. There can be decimals and stuff. All right, so we verified it. Now let's do this one without that. Okay, this one has an A value of 1, a B value of 4, and a C value of 4. It is opening opens up, because the A value is positive, so therefore it has a minimum value for Y. The X is the opposite of B, -4 over 2 times 1, which gives you -4 divided by 2, or -2. So our vertex is at -2 something. We're going to plug in -2 in the equation. But this time you are squaring the -2, guys, so this is different than the one with the negative sign in front of the X, squared. Okay, you are plugging in -2. So you'll be squaring it, plus you'll be doing, getting parenthesis happy today, plus you'll be doing 4 times -2 and then adding 4. This gives you +4 plus -8 plus 4, which is 0. So the vertex is at -2, 0, and that value is your minimum of 0. Last one here, A equals -2, B equals -2. I haven't been using C, so I just quit writing it down this time. This one's going to open down because A is negative. It'll have a max then, and X is the opposite of B, which will be +2 divided by 2 times A, which is 2 times -2. That's 2 over -4, so it's actually -1/2 for my X value. So the vertex is at -1/2 something. I'm going to plug in -1/2. -2 times -1/2 quantity squared minus 2 times -1/2 plus 12. Now, you can type this on your calculator and at the end hit math enter to get it to be a fraction, but I'm going to go ahead and do it by hand. If you'd like to just type that in, go ahead. That'd be -2 times -1/2 squared would be +1/4. -2 times 1/2 would be at -1. So I do -2 times 1/4 is going to be -2 over 4, which is -1/2. I think I just made a sign error right here. Okay, I did. Let me show you where, if you're writing any of this down. I forgot about this is a minus sign. I looked at it like it was part of the bar. So this would have been a +1. So I actually have -1/2 plus 13, not 12. So that's going to be -12 1/2, which as a mixed number is -25 halves. Or +25 halves. Okay, so now if you were on your grapher, let's say you got down to 12.5. If you typed in 12.5 and then hit math enter, it'll give you the 25 halves. I can show you that typed in. Math enter. We'll change that mixed decimal to a fraction. Okay. Do we need this page still? Okay. See whether each function is a quadratic or not. Use graph to check the answers. I think we shouldn't have to graph this one because you guys have graphed these so many times in your life. What is that? It has a slope of -3 and a y-intercept of 2. It is simply a line. So no, it's not a parabola. It's not quadratic. It's a line. This would be a line with a negative slope. My pen just went crazy. Looks almost like a smiley face, didn't it? Okay, so no, it's a line. It'd actually be a line that goes, what's wrong with this thing all of a sudden? Like that, downhill. All right, this thing right here has an x squared in it. That's what we need to be a parabola. This would be a parabola because it's got x squared as its highest power. So yes, okay, that one's a parabola. This one, what if you multiplied it out? X squared times x would give me an x cubed. I'm not going to FOIL the whole thing out. This is a cubic. And I'll tell you, it should do something like this. Make weird noises. Let's go ahead and look at it. So under y equals, this thing will work. Get clear. And then this was what parenthesis? It was x squared. I forgot what came next, please. Thank you. Parenthesis, and then another parenthesis. No, I forgot. X, and then what? Minus 3. Thank you. Okay, and then I'll hit graph and see if it looks anything like, well, I know what they look like, so I shouldn't even pretend. But, okay. The twisty. We'll be graphing those eventually. You'll know how to graph them later. I'll teach you how. Okay, and then this one, Now, think about this. I see an x squared in it, so you're tempted to say yes. But what if I had to rewrite this so x wasn't in the bottom? Okay, that's not a power of 1/2, though. That would be a square root. Do you know what I mean? So, like, what if I brought him back upstairs? What would happen to the exponents? It wouldn't be positive anymore. It'd be negative. Right? Do you agree with me that that's the same thing? Okay, by your exponent rules, that's a reciprocal of x squared, right? So this probably isn't a parabola. I'll just tell you, it's like, I call it a volcano because I'm weird like that. But anyway, we'll learn how to graph them. So what was it? 4 divided by x squared? There's your volcano. And then we flip over, I call them a Drano. Yep, that one did this stuff. We'll learn about how to graph those, etc., and why it doesn't touch and all that stuff. Okay, so that one's a no. Yes, sir. Yeah, there's an error somewhere in there. Check it out. You see right here? What number can you not ever put down here in the bottom? You can't put in, I bet you there's an error at 0. That's because 0 is an asymptote. It can't touch it. Yeah, that's what I'll teach you about later. Okay? So it has an asymptote. It can't ever hit 0 because you can't put 0 in the denominator. Can't divide by it. That's why. That's why the graph looks like that. It's kind of neat. Learned something new already. Describe how to determine whether a function is a quadratic or if it has a max or a min. All right, it has a max. If what? If a is negative, yep. Or a less than 0. It has a min if a is greater than 0 or positive, and it's a quadratic, a quad, if its highest power is 2. Or in the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, they're not always going to look like that, so I almost don't like to say that because we're going to just right now look at some other formats that aren't where you see the A and the B and the C. Just know the power's got to be 2, and it can't be in the denominator. Okay, highest power is 2. It is degree. Ooh, my pen stopped writing for a moment and I made a squigglies. Degree 2. Has to be degree 2, not degree 1, not degree 3, but degree 2. Okay, so here you go. This is a summary. Standard form is f of x is equal to ax squared plus b. Uh-oh, is this your next page? We're now just finally getting to b, right? To 3a. Sorry, 3a. Thank you. I shall pause a moment. Sort of. Ready? Okay. The shape is a U. What happened? Did I pause it? I didn't. It says it's recording. Oh, hopefully everything is there. I don't know now. I have to get my screen up there. Because I went and looked. We thought we were off record. This is also called a parabola, which is a weird way to say it. I once had, we used to do parabolas and hyperbolas in Algebra 2, back when I taught regular Algebra 2 many years ago, like 20 years ago. And I had a young lady that was asked what the name of them was, and she wrote Herbola and Perbola. I thought it was kind of funny. I guess you had to be there. All right, it opens up if A is greater than 0. It opens down if A is less than. Oops. I should be writing if the absolute value of A is greater than 0. It opens down if the absolute value of, or if A is less than 0 if it's negative. I guess I didn't have to write absolute value there. This is where I'm going next. It opens, it didn't need an absolute value on that last one. I got myself distracted. I'm thinking of the next line. This A is positive, bigger than 0. Wide, now that's the difference. If it's wide, okay, that's when it's fat, and that's if A is between something. So if the absolute value of A is between 0 and 1, like a fraction. So when you're talking about a number between 0 and 1, just because it has a fraction for an A value doesn't mean that it gets wider or narrower. It's if because a fraction can have it has to have a numerator smaller than the denominator for it to be between 0 and 1. It gets thin if the absolute value of A is greater than 1. Excuse me. Find the axis of symmetry if x equals the opposite of b over 2 times a. Now, if you guys have any recollection of the quadratic formula, that's kind of like a piece of it. Never mind. How do you find the y-coordinate of the vertex? You plug in the x you just found by doing this thing. You plug in the negative b over 2a value in the equation. Okay, and remember that the y value is the max or the min. Is the max or the min. Of the function. Now, I know you may not have been able to write that there, but you had some space right here. I guess you could have written it up there. I know I wrote too much for you right under that line like I did. Sorry. I don't remember pausing. Anybody still need this? Okay, I gotta go faster. All right, this new format. You're gonna like this one better. Doesn't this look a little familiar? Indeed. Okay, A makes it wider or flatter, or not wider or flatter. That would be the same thing. Stretches it vertically or widens it. This H value shifts it right or left, and the K up or down. And guess what? HK is the vertex. Sort of like circles. Remember how the center of the circle was HK? Hey, Mason, turn around. The axis of symmetry is x equals h. It is the x value of the vertex. So in this case, the vertex here would be -1, 3. Not +1, -1, because it says x minus h. So it's following everything we've talked about before about shifting. The axis of symmetry then will be the equation you must write, x equals -1. If you just write -1, you're going to get it marked wrong or something off, because it's not a -1, it's not a dot, it's not a number, it is an equation of a line of symmetry. So I'm going to graph that axis of symmetry, -1. I'm going to do a dashed line. It's not part of the graph, but I want it to help us learn how to graph them. Now, we should know that -1/2 makes it open down. So we should be expecting that it opens down. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to make a T-chart. I'm going to plug in numbers that I think will behave nicely for me. I'm thinking I don't want to do 0. So what I tell kids is, you see that axis of symmetry, -1? Let's pick a number to the right of it, and then we'll find its matching guy on the other side. So I'd rather not do 0, though, because I think I'm going to get a decimal. So I'm going to put in the number 1. If I put in 1 into this equation, and I'm going to do this in my head, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 squared is 4. -1/2 times 4 would be -2, and -2 plus 3 is 1. You can get these off your graph or table also. But it's good mental math to try to practice plugging them in. You can always type it in on your calculator to get some good practice. 1, 1 is a point on this graph. But wait, I didn't plot the vertex yet. It's at -1, 3. It's right on my axis of symmetry. That's a good thing. Otherwise, I'd have the wrong axis of symmetry. Now, 1, 1 was a point. What would be the matching point over here that I mean by matching, giving it symmetry across the axis of symmetry? 1, 2. Just go, see how this is 2 right? I'm going to go over here, 2 left, and say -3, 1. And I didn't even have to plug it in. Okay? So another nice one, let's just grab another one. 2 looks like it'd be icky. So let's try 3. And then we'll just get its matching buddy. So we put 3 in here. We're going to get 4. 4 squared is 16. Okay. -1/2 times 16 would be -8 plus 3 is -5, right? Yeah. So 3, -5 is another point. And I went, that's how far away from my axis of symmetry. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go at 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left of the axis. And that's at -5, -5. Oh, I think I plotted that wrong, guys. I saw that like it was a 5, not a 6. I got to move mine up 1. I was at 3, -5. I got right off by 1 little dot. But that matters. But I'm at the right, oh, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm at -5, -5. All right, and then I'll just sketch my lovely parabola, get a nice shape. Ooh, if I hit my points, that'd be better. Okay. That is what it looks like. All right, let's do another, and I'm going to tell you that you need a minimum of 3 accurate points, including the accurate vertex. It has to be an accurate vertex and 2 other points. All right, the vertex on this one will be 2, -4. So the axis of symmetry is x is 2. I'm going to dash that in on my graph, not my grapher. If my pen will cooperate. Go. I'm going to make a t-chart. I'm going to plot my vertex, 2, -4. Wait, it's down here. Okay, this one's supposed to open up. That says up, sort of. Pick a number to the right of the vertex. I'm going to go with the 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 4 is -3. That would be a quick way to get this point. And then I know I'd have the matching one on the left, which would be at 1, -3. I'm going to pop one more number back in there. I'm going to put in 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 squared. Oh, that's nice. It's 4. 4 minus 4 is 0. So then the matching point on the other side would be at 0, 0. So we found the y-intercept. Just make sure these look like curves, not V's. Okay. So, I'm ready to go for the next one. Vertex is at -3, 1. Axis is x equals -3. Dash that guy in. Ooh, let's see. Doesn't look like, well, I'll go ahead and put in -2. It's to the right of my axis of symmetry, which will give me 1 in the parentheses. And then 2 times 1 would be 2 plus 1 would be 3. So -2 3's on the graph. And I forgot my -3, 1 axis, vertex, whatever. -4, 3 would be the matching point. And we can just sketch it. And if you want to put more in, that's you may. But I don't think it actually gets that wide that fast. It's kind of skinnier than the way I made it. It really does more like this. Did anybody put another number in? You did. What'd you get? Yeah, if you put in 0, you get something pretty big. Something like 9, 8, 19. Yeah, does it get kind of big though? Is 9 on there? -5, 9, is that what you said? Yeah. I guess that'll work. Okay. So, good enough. Let's try, x-intercept form. This thing's already factored. And this is kind of cool because that shows you where it crosses the x-axis. The x-intercepts are the p and the q, and it's in the minus format. So now I don't know the vertex, but guess how I'm going to get it? The axis of symmetry is halfway between p and q. So what do you think you got to do to get the x value? You're going to need to find halfway between. What's halfway between mean? Come on, back to geometry, right? I heard it. Midpoint. You're going to have to do the midpoint. Now, wait. Midpoint is simple. We just need to add p and q and divide by 2. What's so hard about that? I heard moaning. P plus q divided by 2. Wow, there you go. There's the midpoint. That'll find you the x value of the vertex. So let's do it. This has x-intercepts of -3, 0. And the other one would be 5, 0. You need to write them as points. Do not just write -3 and 5. I need to know if you know the difference between an x-intercept and a y-intercept, okay, and how the point is written. So -3 zeros here, 5 zeros over here. We need to get the vertex and the axis of symmetry. So let's find our axis of symmetry. We take -3 and 5. We add them, and we divide by 2, which is so tough. You were moaning. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, so axis of symmetry is x equals 1, and the h value of the vertex is 1. Next step, plug in 1 in the equation. So we'll have